Good Saturday morning and welcome to another edition of the award-winning Outdoors with Larry Ray.
Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency.
Now, here's your host, Larry Ray.
Hey, good Saturday morning, and let's have a little music over there. Can we have a little music? Let's go here. Oh, yeah. Oh, all right, it's everywhere. All right. Steve Turpin. Good morning, Steve Turpin.
Good morning, Larry.
Welcome to Outdoors with Larry Ray, folks, as we talk turkey on this show today. And we got Steve Turpin in the room with an 80-year-old, at least, box call that we'll talk to Steve about. And then, of course, on the line, Bill Cooksey. Good morning, Bill.
Morning, Larry. Glad to be with y'all.
And Tony Dolle. Good morning to you, Tony.
How you guys all doing?
We're going to be doing great. We're wound up for this show. I wish y'all could be in with us and have Steve here with us, but we appreciate that. We're going to talk turkey for the next 90 minutes. Got some great guests lined up, and Tony's going to be with us for the 90 minutes. We're going to let Bill sneak out after the first two segments. But good morning to all you folks in Brownsville on 1520 AM and 95.3 FM. And News Talk 101.5 in Jackson, Tennessee. And, of course, right here in Memphis, AM 790. And Steve, I know you look forward to this show, don't you?
Every year.
Every year. In fact, Steve's the first one that contacts me. When are we going to do this? And so I thought this would be a great weekend. This is Young Sportsman's Weekend in the state of Tennessee. I think it's also in Mississippi. No, let's see. It's Arkansas. It might be. I don't really know. But I know it's Tennessee this weekend. And then next weekend, we open up in Tennessee, and we're going to talk to Rogers Shields at the bottom of the show. He is the TWRA Turkey Program Coordinator, because we're starting 2 weeks late. Right, Steve? I mean,
yeah.
Normally we would be in the woods in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you folks in Mississippi, you start somewhere around Christmas, it seems like. I mean, 1st of March, somewhere around that area. But we'll have Roger. And, I'm not going to read off all these names that are coming up. We got guys with calls, guys who don't even need to call to make a call. And we got a former banker who makes calls. But we got the Turpin family here. And I know Tony and I know Bill. Bill has been here many times on this special show. And Steve, I went back, Steve, and let's talk to Steve Turpin because the Turpin family is America's oldest name in custom calls, helping turkeys make bad decisions for over 120 years. Now, tell my listeners, I was not there for the first one, right? Okay?
No, I think you were about year 3.
Year 3, yeah.
No, it started with my great uncle was Tom Turpin.
Yes.
And he started making calls around 1899, and made them for his own use and friends and family. And then as people were seeing what he was making, he went to a national scale around 1915. He made the calls with his younger brother, Inman Turpin.
Okay, yeah.
And then they made them together, and then it was my dad, Hunter Turpin, and then me.
Yes.
Been doing it a long, long time.
And you brought what? Tell us about what you brought this morning. What is that?
Well,
now?
this is an actual Tom Turpin box call that I managed to purchase in January. It's about 80 years old, and it
still works.
Oh, it
works. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing.
How does that sound, Cooksey? I mean,
sounds real good over here.
It does sound real good over there.
So, you take care of the calls and build a quality call. It'll last you your lifetime, your kids, your grandkids. And, technically, I'm a third-generation call maker, but in reality, it's more like 4 generations because Tom and Inman were, even though they were brothers, they were 21 years difference in their age.
Yeah, 21 years.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of difference in age. But the same, anytime you mention, and some of these guys that will be on the show today are real world-class turkey hunters, turkey callers, national champions, things like that. You mentioned the Turpin name. It rings with authority. And that's why I'm so glad to get Steve inside with us. You didn't bring a trumpet, right? You did not.
I got it around my neck.
Oh, he does. Okay, I've just wondered because there we go. Oh, y'all like that too? Can we just listen for a while? I mean, the sweet
turkeys like them too.
The turkeys like them too. Yeah, I don't know which one. Tony, which one do you prefer? What do you use, Tony?
Well, I use a box call, and in fact, since Steve's on the show, I will tell you that the very first turkey I killed was called with one of their box calls. I'm not sure which Turpin made it, but it was a Turpin box call, and it worked.
That's good to hear.
He likes to hear that.
Oh, yeah.
All right, what about you, Bill?
Well, I hate to say it.
Go ahead and say it.
My two biggest weaknesses are trumpets and wing bones, those style of calls, and a box call.
Yeah.
I use them, but I've never been comfortable with my proficiency. So it kills me hearing folks like Steve and so many others who just, run that thing effortlessly. For me, it's typically a mouth call, and I'll carry either a glass or a slate in my hand at all times.
Yeah.
The beauty of it is you don't have to be perfect with your calling, though. It's what you get confidence in.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Because sometimes just a little short, under your breath, just a little will kill a turkey.
Yeah, it will. And I played trumpet through the college, but I can't play that trumpet he's got around his neck. And I have one that I will pass down to generations, my trumpet. But
hey, Larry,
yes.
Here's the tip.
What?
You don't blow this one.
No, you don't. You suck in on this one. That's exactly right. But trumpet is a trumpet to me when it comes into that. And a mouth call, man, I tell you, I think Will Primo's even made me a special Larry Ray mouth call. And I see people go by and they're in their truck doing that thing, and I'm sitting over gagging and stuff like that. But I'm a box call man. I'm a slate call man. Okay, and I've got a Turpin box. I've got a Robert Cliff, the last call. Sometimes, guys, and maybe you've thought about this too. When you have a call, and it is so beautiful that you don't want to lose it or have something happen to it. I hate to admit, but I use an older call because you can tell by looking at it, it's been beat up a while. But now that box call he's showing over there, 80 years old, it's still prime. So if you take care of them, and I know, Steve, you will say that, and Tony and Bill will also agree with these things, you got to keep these things in shape, right, Steve?
Absolutely. And I actually enjoy, haven't had it happen this year, but a lot of years I'll have people that are still hunting with these calls that are 70, 80, 90 years old.
Yeah.
And they'll say, man, it just doesn't sound. Can you retune it? And usually it's just the call being slick from age. Yeah. And I can rough it up and get it back. And they're like, man, I had no idea that this call would sound
that good.
That good again.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know you guys, Tony and Bill and Steve, I can still remember my first turkey because I shot the legs out of it, and I wondered why it kept sitting on the ground for so long, and I don't mind admitting that. It just happened, okay? But that did set me on a trend that is not the way that you want to get your first turkey. And of course, I didn't start turkey hunting until I was like 50, and so I don't know when did you kill your first bird, Tony?
I was probably in my mid-20s.
Okay.
Over in Missouri, in Iron County, Missouri, where they kind of reintroduced turkeys in Missouri years ago. And my father-in-law was an avid turkey hunter. Started turkey hunting in 1963 when they reinstituted the season there. Hunted every year, killed at least a bird every year, and he kind of drugged me with him. He kind of drugged me over there and said, if you're going to marry into the family, son, you're going to have to learn to hunt turkeys. He didn't hunt anything else, but he hunted turkeys, and he was good at it. And he set me up in a place and called, and I thought, man, that sounds like a real turkey.
Yes, yeah.
He can't be that good, but he was. And that's how I killed my first one.
How about you, Bill?
I was 27 years old in Chester County, Tennessee, all alone, called him up myself.
What?
And
all alone by yourself?
Yeah, and interestingly enough, and I'd been turkey hunting for years before that, just not seriously. You know, I started when I lived in California in school, I turkey hunted some. But,
yes.
Still to this day, and it's kind of strange because I've hunted with a lot of great turkey hunters, but I've only killed 2 turkeys that other people called up.
Ah, okay.
I've got nothing to get. I'm happy to sit there and let somebody call a turkey for me.
Yes.
It never seemed to work out that way.
Well, I've had some excitement on those things too. I've had one gobble in my left ear, and of course I shoot left-handed, so I was. And Ty Inman still talks about it to this day. It like scared me to death. I broke out in a cold sweat. I didn't know it was back there. Things like that. We're going to have a lot of fun on today's show. Again, Bill Cooksey's with us through these first 2 segments. Tony Dolle out of Mount Juliet, Tennessee, and Bill's out of Kentucky Lake now, up in that area. But Steve Turpin in the studio, the legendary Turpin calls. And I looked at this thing, man, and I still say that when you mention the name Turpin, you think turkeys. And that's what I always have. So let's take our first break in the morning, come back, and we're going to start off with a couple of guys from Mississippi, Mike Giles and Hope, Mark McPhail on Outdoors with Larry Ray. I love it.